Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the Daily Market Insight for Monday, the 16th of October. All right, now the dollar up after inflation data boost. That's the key theme that's running through the market, right? Now, the good thing is, after Thursday's US CPI numbers, things have settled down somewhat. And we do have, a bit of stability in the markets. And looking at this actual week, I think this is going to be, we've got a better cross-section of economic fundamentals across the globe, right? So, and they're not like the ram bam, thank you, ma'am, like the non-farm payrolls that can be completely uncontrollable. It's a shame we missed out on a good number there on the US CPI. And what I mean by that is a good variant number, right? Because not only do you get the move, but you also get a good trading opportunity out of it. But let's just put that aside. Now, we've seen the correction here in the dollar. It was heading lower. It's sort of just come back and corrected. Dollar Swiss at nice levels. Dollar yen, there is talk of the Bank of Japan talking to the G20 as though there's some sort of head of that they may need to intervene. Same old story. Dollar CAD, well, it's been whipping about with oil, but sort of pretty much at constant levels. Euro took a headshot on Thursday, and it's sort of just floundering at the moment, as is sterling, Aussie, and the Kiwi there as well, right? So we've got these major currencies that are, they've just been cleaned out. We had a nice move into the weak dollar, and we just didn't get the follow-through move, and that causes a nice clean out. Looking at the equity markets, right, we saw, obviously, the equities are moving higher as the dollar was falling, right? The expectations for weaker US CPI numbers, weaker inflation, means everyone lower rates, higher equities. But at the moment, they've corrected a little bit, but not the whole way, right? I think the whole dollar correction here is a little bit overdone. And we do have a few numbers coming out this week, which may give us some idea of if the dollar really is going to be remain stronger or come back. Now, gold finally gave way, right? With the trouble in the Middle East, etc. Maybe the US numbers led to it as well, but we've seen a massive sort of move back higher in gold. Oil, well, back up to $87, sort of still heading north. Looks like that conflict in the Middle East isn't over yet. And, Bitcoin around those same levels. So now the idea is you've got to try and, get some stability here around and some sort of a key understanding of what the theme of the market is. Now, we know the dollar was going lower. It's corrected with, slightly stronger US CPI numbers or, slightly firmer. What does that leave us? Well, it comes back down to, if I just bring you back across, there's a couple of themes running across the market, and this is what you need to sort of keep an eye on as well. Where's my pen here? If I can just get that up. Okay. This is the little comments here about the Japan tells G20 it may need to act in FX market. Yeah, that's great. Canadian dollar claws back weekly losses, oil jumps. Sterling steadies after US inflation surprise. And a little bit about the ruble there as well. So basically, it's just giving you a bit of a wrap around, okay, what happened at the end of last week? What's going on right now, and what can we expect? And this brings you back into, right, well, what does this week entail for us? We know the dollar's corrected that earlier weakness, but if anything, it's just gone back to where it was before. We do have, as I said, a good cross-section of numbers. Now, if we look at the Monday, it's pretty sedate. You get the Kiwi inflation numbers there, but the rest of the numbers here, wholesale prices in Germany, whatever. It's basically Mondays, you're piecing together a few pieces of data. The market will slowly factor those into the market if there is any sort of significant variations. The New York Empire State Manufacturing Index is probably something I wouldn't mind looking at, because once again, I'm looking for some sort of idea of exactly what the US dollar is doing at this point. Okay, so, and then if I scroll down, you come into the week, there's a lot of UK data, right? So sterling's going to be very active. You've got the employment numbers on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got the inflation numbers. And then Friday, we've got the UK retail sales numbers there, right? So, you've got to put a circle around sterling and think, well, you know what, this could be in play this week, and not necessarily sterling against the dollar, sterling against the other crosses as well. Now, when you come into Tuesday, as I said, we want to sort of get some connection back to the US dollar, right? We've got, and we do have some good numbers out here. Industrial production numbers and retail sales figures. Definitely these numbers here are building blocks for the backbone of the economy. So we could see some, you know, important numbers drop here. Weakness, we'll see some of those moves on Thursday corrected, right? If they come out strong, well, the market's going to be happy to probably start buying dollars again. You get the Canadian inflation numbers, the ZEW numbers out of Europe, and obviously the UK employment RBA minutes. So Tuesday's got a lot you could rip your teeth into, right? There's a lot of good numbers coming out here to give these specific currencies direction, right? And that's what we're looking for, right? We don't want anything else. Coming to Wednesday, a lot of Chinese data here, obviously very important for the Aussie and Kiwi. As I mentioned, the UK employment numbers, Christine Lagarde speaking, the ECB president. And then once again, we've got some building permits, housing starts, and a bunch of Fed officials there talking also. So we are going to get a bit more clarity. Now, don't forget, before those US CPI numbers, there was a few Fed stooges coming out talking about we're at the end of the cycle. I don't think that's changed a huge amount, to be honest, right? But we'll find out more by Wednesday. You come into Thursday, Aussie employment numbers, okay, and then we've got a bunch of Philly Fed manufacturing, the initial jobless claims, and the existing home sales, right? Once again, these numbers form the sort of foundations for the economy. And if we start to see strength or weakness, we are going to see some movement in the dollar and obviously in the equity markets. The Aussie, well, it's been floundering of late and got another kick in the teeth there on Thursday. But, you know, we've got some things coming out there to sort of focus on, see if it sort of continues with those directions. GfK Consumer Confidence Friday, UK retail sales. So once again, it's the end of the UK run of all the data. We'll have a very good idea of what's happening in the UK by the end of the week. Canadian retail sales figures, definitely worth having a look at. And Japan inflation, well, you can have a look, but it's rarely is it different to what they predict, right? There's no activity there inflation-wise usually in Japan. So having a look across that cross-section, guys, we do have a good week, right? And there's no rush to rush into any of these situations. Now, if I just go to the top tier data, right, you can start to see where things are lining up here. There is a lot of good high impacting data Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit Thursday, Friday. Lots to sort of really gauge what's happening in the market. See if we can't piece together some decent moves out of these, either the currencies, the equities, commodities, and just keep an eye on that situation. Obviously, in the Middle East, it is obviously disruptive to the global markets, but we'll see how it goes. Now, don't forget Monday, Columbus Day in the US. So we're going to have a really quiet Monday. I would encourage you, if anything, just get your whatever system you're using for your analysis, get it up and running, and start to sort of work through and just tune up your analysis, right? Tune up your charts, see where these instruments were, and then you can start to sort of gauge around, piece together when the fundamentals come out, what happens to these, or what's happening on the technical side of things as well. All right. And that's all you can do, right? You can't make the markets move for you just because you got the day off, right? Wait for the markets to move. And that's when we put these technicals and fundamentals together, right? I forgot to mention the yields still hanging in there. US yields still up. Okay. That's was the driving force last week. The yields were falling until we had those US CPI numbers. So just keep an eye on that as we go forward. Like obviously nothing in the North American equity futures. So it's going to be a really muted session. There's a couple of moves in play, a little bit of a correction on the dollar, on the Aussie and Kiwi. But outside of that, not much else at this point, right? We'll know more by tomorrow once the markets reconnect after the US holiday, and then we can start to piece together the next trading opportunity. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.